6, and we're going to talk about scientific notation. So it says simplify each expression. Answers should be written in correct scientific notation. So all your answers should be written in correct scientific notation. If you remember, scientific notation looks like something like this. Okay? Where this number is always between 1 and 10. It's called the coefficient. Okay? This is the exponent. That tells you what direction to move your decimal. Okay, and this is your base. Your base is always 10, and you're always multiplying. Okay, so for example, let's look at number 4. So if you are looking at number 4 and you want to make these into regular numbers, all you have to do is move the decimal. So this tells me to move the decimal 6 times to the right because I'm making the number bigger. If I multiply something by 10 6 times, I'm going to make it really big. So I have 1.95, and I'm going to move the decimal 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I do that, I get 195 and 4 zeros. Notice that this number is not the number of zeros. It's the number of spaces I'm moving the decimal. That's a common misconception. So this number is really 1,950,000. Okay? And then this number here, I have to take 3. My decimal's here. I move it over 4 times to the right. 4. So this is actually 30,000. So I'm actually just doing that calculation, and I can do it right in my calculator. So if I do 1,950,000 minus 30,000, I get this number here, okay? If we want our answers written in scientific notation, I have to put it back into scientific notation, okay? So if you notice, this is a really big number. And if I want to put it in something that looks like this, I have to decide where I got to put my decimal. In this number, I think I'm going to put my decimal between the 1 and the 9 because 1.9 is between 1 and 10. So I would put 1.92 times 10. And if I put it there, then I'd have to move my decimal over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in order to get it back to its original number. So my answer is 1.92 times 10 to the 6. Okay, that's one option of doing these problems. Okay. That kind of should refresh your memory on how to move it. If my exponent's negative, that means I move my decimal to the left and it becomes a really small number. Okay? For problems like number 1, this exponent is really, really big. So you can also just plug the scientific notation in your calculator. Notice this is saying to multiply. So only thing I'm going to have you do, and please do this, is put your second number in parentheses. Otherwise, your calculator won't calculate this whole number. So anytime you're doing it in your calculator, just put that second number in parentheses so your calculator does it correctly. Okay? So I'm going to type it just as I see here. 6.48 times 10. And I can do the caret for the exponent. The caret button is right above the x squared button. And I can put negative 15. And then I'm going to do times. And then I'm going to put the parentheses. The parentheses buttons are right here. So parentheses, 1.1 times 10 to the second power, close the parentheses, press enter, and you see it gives me my answer just as it is here. If you look, there's a tiny times 10 there, so you can write it just as it's at 7.128 times 10 to the negative 13th power. And that's my answer for that one. Okay, so take a minute and do those two. And then on the bottom, there's a question, a word problem. Okay, so take a minute, read it to yourself. So it says, how many times greater? So that actually means division. If you think about it, if I say, how many times greater is 20 than 10, you would say 2, because 20 divided by 10 equals 2. Okay, so think of that when you're thinking about this. So you want to divide the bigger number by the smaller number. And you remember, you can tell which one's the bigger number by the exponent. Okay, so that is scientific notation. So once you complete this warm-up, you're going to go to your white packet, and it's page 3. You're going to do page 3 in your white packet. If you finish the white packet, you're going to turn to page 4 and do the equation solving. Okay, thanks for watching.